After I lost my memory, I stopped keeping tabs on Isabelle. We just stayed out of each other's way. She threw resources and connections at Aiden Chase, paving a golden path for his career. Everyone else ran to tell me, you better stop faking this amnesia. If you keep it up, you're going to be replaced as Mr. Vance. I just laughed, thinking to myself, are you kidding me? Don't ruin this for me. I'd finally lucked into a life where I didn't have to work and still had money to spend. Later, she got into a car accident back in the States while I was overseas at a concert. Her sister called and told me to come back. I just played dumb. Oh my God. Is she okay? I'm so worried. I'll head back right away. But by the time she was discharged from the hospital, I still hadn't returned. I put on an apologetic face and spouted nonsense. My wallet was stolen the second I landed. All I had left was my phone. I'm so sorry I couldn't make it back in time. But she just looked at me, walked over, and took my hand. Her eyes were red. Can we stop fighting, please? Aiden Chase was trending #1 for his role in a blockbuster historical drama. The comments were flooded with his fans and a paid army of bots listing all the hardships he'd endured over the years. They said he'd finally made it. At that moment, I was sitting in a VIP hospital room, touching the bandage on my head. Oh my God. Seriously? Looking around the room, I couldn't stop a grin from spreading across my face. My eyes were shining. How did I take a nap and wake up as some rich kid? Just then, a nurse walked in. I quickly pointed to my head and asked, Miss, when can I get out of here? She said softly, we'll need to observe you for another 2 or 3 days. If there are no other adverse reactions, you can go. I waved my hand dismissively. Great, then I can leave now. I feel fine. I blinked my big eyes at her. Can I? She hesitated for a moment, then said, I'll go get the doctor to check on you. If he says you're okay, you can be discharged. Awesome. Thank you. After the nurse left, I craned my neck to grab my phone. I wasn't prepared for what I saw. Holy crap, 99 notifications. My vision's a little blurry, so I brought the phone closer. The pinned contact at the top was labeled, Wifey. There was one message. If you keep this up, we're getting a divorce. A divorce. The next second, I was calling my mom. As soon as she picked up, I asked, did you win the lottery or something? You brat, you need to tell Isabelle to give your brother. I hung up before she could finish. Then I called my dad. Same question, same answer. At 3:33 p.m., I confirmed that I hadn't struck it rich. The wealthy one was the wife who wanted to divorce me. I immediately checked my bank account. When I saw all those zeros, I went back and read my chat history with Wifey. I nearly passed out. Seriously, was my brain smashed by a door before I woke up? I was actually begging and pleading for my cheating wife to come back to me. Oh my God. I put my hands on my hips, my fingers pressing into my temples. Unbelievable. When did I become such a loser? I walked into the bathroom, saw my haggard reflection, and pointed at the mirror. Leo, when did you get so pathetic? You actually wanted love? Did you get hit in the head or something? After the doctor cleared me to leave, I beelined it to the mall for a complete makeover. I bought a limited edition Patek Philippe watch in one go and strapped it to my wrist. The saleswoman, seeing how much I was spending, was smiling so wide her eyes disappeared. She showered me with every compliment in the book. When I walked out of the mall, I was practically radiating the scent of money and luxury. Perfect. Next stop, an exclusive club. I brought a briefcase full of cash and used a stack of bills to lift one of the model's chins. Do you like me? Her eyes lit up like laser beams. She cooed. I like you the most, handsome. You're good looking, you're in great shape, who wouldn't like you? Anyone who doesn't must be blind. I asked another one, do you love me? She immediately knelt at my feet. Besides my father, you're the person I love and care about most in the world. I held out a fat wad of cash and, with a grin, had them fan me with it. See? Love just shows up. With money, you can have any kind of love you want. These models were so sweet-tongued. They could say anything. I was so happy I couldn't tell which way was up. Following a faint memory, I arrived at a magnificent villa. My legs felt weak, and my heart was pounding. Whoa, what a huge fountain. Ooh, and a gallery. Wow, and a garden. Yes, and a swimming pool. The smile on my face grew wider. This is my house. I opened the front door. The living room was a bit dark. I turned on my phone's flashlight and fumbled for the light switch. Before I could find it, a scream cut through the darkness. Ah, Jesus, my heart. I clutched my chest, my legs giving out as I leaned against the wall and looked toward the sound. The next second, the lights flickered on. I instinctively squinted. When I opened my eyes, I saw a woman with a man nestled in her arms. They were a little far away, and I couldn't see clearly, so I had to squint. The woman's cool voice was laced with impatience. What is it this time? Are you going to jump off the roof or slit your wrists? Before my brain could catch up, the man beside her seemed terrified of me, his beautiful eyes welling up with tears. I held up my hands. Hey, sorry to interrupt. It's so dark in here, I didn't see a thing. I'll just head upstairs. You two carry on, carry on. With that, I bolted up the stairs like my feet were greased. I found a room based on my fuzzy memory and went inside. Once again, I marveled what a huge room. After I showered and came out, there was someone else in the room. It was the woman from downstairs. I figured she must be wifey from my contacts, Isabelle Vance. She wore a silk blouse with the sleeves rolled up, leaning against the wall and staring at me coldly. What trick are you trying to pull this time? Before I could speak, I heard her sneer. Amnesia? I knew that even if I showed her the doctor's report, she wouldn't believe me, so I just waved my hands frantically. No, I'm fine, totally fine. The room fell silent. I had no feelings for her, no memories. To me, she was just some woman standing in my room. I asked tentatively, is there anything else? If not, you can leave. I couldn't believe a cheating woman would actually stick around. She lazily lifted her eyelids to look at me. Weren't you the one who was begging me to come back? Hey, well, if you're busy, you're free to go. I laughed nervously. She shot me a cold look and went into the bathroom. I sat on the bed and scrolled through my phone for a while, reading through half of my messages. So, Aiden Chase was Isabelle's childhood friend, but his family went bankrupt when they were in college. He didn't get into the same university as Isabelle, and their youthful affection was buried away. The next time they met, Aiden was a struggling extra in Hollywood, while Isabelle was already the CEO of the Vance Corporation. The story was straight out of a novel. She felt sorry for his past and wanted to pave a smooth path for his career. Except I came along and threw a wrench in the works. During that time, I publicly accused Aiden of being a homewrecker. Aiden's rivals seized the opportunity to fan the flames, and he was dragged so badly he almost quit the industry. I searched it up. The whole thing ended with me issuing a public apology. The gist was that I had misunderstood them, and Aiden had not interfered in our relationship. What a load of crap. How touching. What a great way to protect him. I yawned and decided to go to sleep before she came out. If I was asleep, it wouldn't be awkward. When I woke up the next morning, I was alone in the room. After breakfast, I casually asked Arthur, what do I usually do around this time? Huh? Arthur paused what he was doing and thought for a long time before carefully choosing his words. Sir, you usually go to Madam's company around this time? To work? No. Okay, I get it. For the next few weeks, Isabelle didn't come back. Meanwhile, I made friends with a few rich kids who took me to exclusive clubs, high-stakes poker games, and bars. Took you long enough, man. You finally decided to live a little. The person speaking was Jax, a good friend of mine. He was a textbook handsome guy. I shook my head internally. Women, you have a gorgeous, amazing guy at home, but you still can't resist the crap outside. He slowly exhaled a puff of smoke. A starlet sitting next to him reached over to hand him an ashtray. The model next to me was just as attentive. She picked up a strawberry, brought it to my lips, and whispered, "Have a strawberry, handsome." Then she leaned in closer and asked, "Do you want to play a game?" I was intrigued. What kind of game? The model had an innocent face, but her smile was captivating. I found myself staring for a moment. She leaned toward my ear, but before she could say more than a few words, the door to the room was kicked open. A woman in a Chanel suit stormed in, her face contorted with rage, and slapped the starlet across the face. I gasped and covered my mouth, but the other rich kids and Jax seemed completely unfazed. The starlet didn't dare to fight back. Finally, Jax glanced at his nails and said nonchalantly, "Are you done? If you're done, get out. Don't scare my friends." In the dim light of the private room, the faint yellow glow from outside illuminated the woman's pale face. She took off her coat, draped it over Jax, and grabbed his hand. "Come home with me." After Jax left, I asked the remaining guys what was that all about. They just laughed and said, "Rules for thee, but not for me." As we were leaving the club, I tilted my head and asked the model, "Why do you do this?" She smiled, her answer simple, "I need the money." I asked, "Are you clean?" She paused for a second, as if just processing the question, then nodded. "Yeah." I smiled. "All right, I'll give you 10 grand a month to hang out with me." Her lips moved. "Thank you," she said. "What's your name?" "Your real name." "Chloe." The day Isabelle and Aiden's names shot to the top of the trending topics, Chloe and I woke up at 4 in the morning. We were going to watch the sunrise. There's a road in Los Angeles that's surrounded by the ocean on 3 sides. She drove a scooter and I sat on the back. There were plenty of others like us, all heading out to see the sunrise. The horizon was already blanketed in a magnificent glow. The coastal highway was lined with palm trees, and a gentle breeze was blowing. At 5 o'clock, a crowd of people stood on the beach for nearly 20 minutes. The sun, like a salted egg yolk, slowly rose above the sea level. Its light was brilliant but not blinding. After we got back to the villa, I fell asleep the moment I hit the bed. I was woken up by the constant buzzing of my phone. I groaned, ran my hands through my hair, and yelled, "For F's sake, arg."
So annoying, so annoying.
Arg. I grabbed my pillow and thrashed around in frustration. I unlocked my phone. Everyone, familiar and not, was messaging me to ask if Isabelle and I were getting a divorce. Most of them said the same thing: "You better stop faking this amnesia. If you keep it up, you're going to be replaced as Mr. Vance." I just thought to myself, are you kidding me? Don't ruin this for me. I'd finally lucked into a life where I didn't have to work and still had money to spend. I scratched my head, took a deep breath, and opened X. Well, the #1 trending topic was Isabelle Vance Aiden Chase. Apparently, one of their high school classmates had posted a video online. There was a popular series going around called The Heart of a 17-year-old. After a transition, it showed a photo of this person in a classroom. In the background of the photo, several students in school uniforms were visible. I looked down at the photo, which had been enlarged and enhanced by netizens to make it clearer. You could see Aiden's face much more clearly. The teenage boy was looking up at the girl standing in front of him, his eyes bright with a smile. The girl was leaning against the blackboard at the back of the classroom, her posture relaxed, her head slightly lowered, a smile playing on her lips. The comment section was blowing up. Is this a high school rom-com? I'm into it. So all those coincidences weren't coincidences after all. The CEO has been protecting him this whole time. Spill the tea, I love this. But isn't Isabelle Vance married? What does that make them? Isn't Aiden Chase a homewrecker? Among the sea of fans shipping this getting back together couple, a rare dissenting voice appeared. But people only want to hear what they want to hear and see what they want to see. As soon as a voice that didn't fit their fairy tale narrative appeared, they would reshape their fantasy world with all sorts of "I heard" and "from what I understand. That husband isn't even as hot as Aiden. Besides, I heard he used some dirty tricks to marry into the Vance family. Otherwise, how could he have ever gotten into a family like that?" I agree. The fact that Aiden and Ms. Vance met again proves that even fate couldn't stand them being apart. The comments went back and forth, but my mind was blank. I couldn't even remember how Isabelle and I met, or how we got married. I scratched my head. Why would the heiress of a wealthy family marry me? Didn't her parents object? I couldn't figure it out, so I decided to stop thinking about it. That evening, I was waiting for Chloe outside the Caltech campus. She had taken a year off from school due to family issues but had recently returned. She was wearing a blue short-sleeved shirt over a white t-shirt. A sharp pain shot through my head, and a faint image flickered in my mind. "Hey, Have you been waiting long? I shook my head gently. Not really. Is there anything good to eat around here? Do you want to get barbecue? A new barbecue place just opened that's supposed to be really good. Sounds good. Caltech and UCLA are close to each other. As we passed by UCLA, I slowed to a stop, looking at the familiar gates. Chloe said softly, "What's wrong?" "I think I used to go to school here." We were about to leave when an elderly voice called out from behind us. "Is that you, Leo?" I turned around to see a small, cheerful old man walking over with a bicycle. "The last time you two came to a school event was years ago." "What? Did you come all this way just to see an old man like me?" I pursed my lips. Most people think amnesia sounds ridiculous, so I just smiled and said, "Yes, Professor. We came to see you today. How have you been?" The professor smiled and waved his hand. "Good, good. I know Isabelle is busy with work." "Oh, and who is this?" He pointed at Chloe. I said, "A friend of mine. She goes to Caltech next door." "Hello there." Chloe bowed her head slightly. "Hello, Professor. Nice to meet you." The professor nodded, looking at me with a kind smile. "My, how time flies. Feels like you two were just freshmen. That girl ran all over Pasadena in the middle of the night just to find you a complete set of those collectibles, and she had a competition the next day. It's great to be young. And just like that, you've been married for 5 years." Hearing this, the smile on my face froze. "I'm 28 this year." The professor continued, "I wanted her to stay for her master's and PhD. She joined my research institute as a freshman. She was a rare genius. But her parents objected back then. She told me she had to build a future for you too." Suddenly, a sharp pain pierced my heart, and a scene flashed in my mind. A girl in a blue shirt, darting through streets and alleys. Then, a clear voice echoed in my ears. "Hey you, very chic, getting a tan. I was just thinking I'm too pale myself. Mind if I join you? Oh, look at me rambling. I have to get to class. You should both come visit this old man when you have time." I smiled. "We will. Please take care of yourself." After the professor left, Chloe saw that I looked pale and asked cautiously, "What's wrong? You don't look so good." "It's nothing. I just remembered some things." The nights in Los Angeles are dazzling, with golden lights illuminating the Western-style architecture of the high-rises. Jax was drunk, and I came to pick him up. A waiter led me to a private room. He was sitting on the floor, his head on the table, his curly hair splayed out. I didn't know how he'd gotten this wasted. Hearing the noise, he groggily lifted his head. His voice slurred. "Is that Leo?" "Yeah." "Come on, I'll take you home." "Home?" He blinked, staring at me blankly for a long time. Finally, he cracked a smile. "Right. My home. The one where I'm all alone." As he laughed, he seemed to remember something and handed me his phone. The screen showed an acceptance letter from a foreign university. "I'm going to study abroad." My mouth fell open in surprise.
Congratulations, Mann.
"I'll come visit you there." "Yeah, you better. I'll show you around my school." But he didn't look happy. Looking at the scattered bottles, I said, "Isn't this the school you always wanted to go to?" Why do you say that? You just don't seem very happy about it." He paused, then threw his head back and laughed. "No, it's just a little surreal." I looked at him, confused, as he began to speak softly. "We were high school sweethearts, grew up together. Just like we planned, we got married right after college. But then came the 7-year itch. In our 2nd year of marriage, she cheated on me. And you know what? The other guy was just a nose job away from being my twin. I thought it was the most absurd thing in the world." He covered his face, tears streaming through his fingers. "She said she'd been with me for too long and couldn't feel that first love spark anymore. She said nothing happened, but my email, my phone, they were filled with bed photos that guy sent me. I don't understand. Our love was so genuine back then. Her eyes were always on me. How could she just fall in love with someone else? I demanded a divorce. I'd rather burn it all down than compromise. She was tainted, why would I still want her? But I couldn't leave. Couldn't. My dad told me our two companies were too intertwined. I couldn't get a divorce, so I had to endure it. Endure her telling me she loved me while she slept with other men. He gritted his teeth and swept a glass bottle off the table. It shattered on the floor, just like their sham of a marriage. No matter how you piece it back together, it's never the same. And she wouldn't divorce me either. She just trapped me in this rotten marriage. I felt like I was going crazy, Leo. I wasn't myself anymore. He rested his head on my shoulder, sobbing softly, a note of relief in his voice. Now I can finally leave. I regret it so much. I regret ever being with her. I wiped away the tears that had unknowingly welled in my own eyes and gently patted his back. The song Under Mount Fuji played on a loop in the room. You only have your own two hands. An embrace can't make someone yours to own. To have anything, you first must learn how to lose. We once roamed down a snowy path. Why cry when good things pass? Who can claim Mount Fuji as their own just by loving it? The car stopped in front of a villa. Chloe got out and gently helped Jax. I used his finger to unlock the door with the fingerprint scanner. After putting him to bed, I said to Chloe, "You can go. I'll stay here and look after him. Take the car for now, I'll pick it up in a few days." "Okay, I'll see you then." She turned to leave, then paused and glanced back at me. "Was the person the professor mentioned today your wife?" My eyelashes lowered. "I guess so." She nodded slightly and left. In the middle of the night, I sat on the balcony, the wind chilling me as I rubbed my temples. I didn't have many memories left. Back then, I was shuttling between two families. One was my mom's new family, the other my dad's. They used to have a house, but neither wanted the other to have it, so they sold it and split the money. Neither of their new homes had a room for me. I had to sleep on the living room couch. I used to fantasize that I was adopted, that my real parents would find me and take me away, and I would finally have a room of my own. I also dreamed of being a tycoon with a huge villa, a massive room, and a big, soft bed. As I was lost in my thoughts, my phone rang. It was Isabelle. I pulled the blanket tighter around me, remembering Jax's heart-wrenching sobs in the club. Maybe they really had loved each other, and the love was so overwhelming at the time. That's why the discovery of its absence was so much harder to bear. The phone rang, stopped, and rang again. It was as if she wouldn't give up until I answered. After my amnesia, everyone was shocked by my change. Jax said that before, if Isabelle had even dared to give Aiden a role in a movie their company funded, I would have stormed her office and flown across the country to tear him apart. But now, Isabelle was a stranger to me. I had no feelings for her, aside from the occasional flashes of memory. I bit my finger. Isabelle was so rich I should be able to get a hefty settlement in the divorce, right? I could still be a rich man, just maybe not one who could give Chloe 10 grand a month. The phone kept vibrating. I reached out and answered. The moment I did, Isabelle's furious voice came through the receiver. "Where are you? Why did it take you so long to answer? Do you have any idea what time it is?" "It's 2 in the morning. Where are you?" I propped my head up. "I'm on a trip." "What's up?" There was a moment of silence, only the sound of breathing. "Are you alone?" "With a friend." "Anything else?" "Which friend?" "How come She was being so nosy. I hung up, annoyed. The night was so dark. I pinched the bridge of my nose. I'd rather burn it all down than compromise. Maybe the old Leo felt the same way. Later, on the first day of filming for Aiden's historical drama, Isabelle showed up on set. The two of them looked perfect together. But this time, it didn't make it to the top of the trending topics. And in a corner of a forgotten room, I found the collectibles the professor had talked about. I searched for them on my phone. The complete set had once been sold for an astronomical price. But with time, the figurines had lost their color, their edges yellowing. In the locked box, there were many other gifts and photos. They had been forgotten by their owner in a dusty corner of time, collecting dust, turning yellow. The Isabelle in the photos was much younger than she was now. I'd only seen her once since I got back, and I hadn't seen her smile. But here, Isabelle was smiling in every single photo, her eyes always fixed on me. There was also a book inside, and a postcard fell out. It was a postcard for the novel that Aiden's drama was based on. On the back was a long message. "One wrong move and the whole game is lost." But I couldn't for the life of me figure out which move had been the wrong one. That day, I stood at a crossroads as heavy snow fell, blurring the path ahead. This winter was so cold, I felt like I might not make it to spring. Aiden Chase was cast as the lead in the adaptation of my novel, The Scheme. She had promised me that if she bought the rights, I would have absolute creative control. I believed her. The casting was delayed. The project stalled. She said the company had a big project and filming would start once the funds were available. I believed that too. In the end, she lied to me just like when my parents sold the house and told me their homes were my home. They said I was crazy. I think I must have been sick. I actually wanted to drag them both down with me. Anyone could have played the lead in The Scheme. Anyone but Aiden Chase. Reading those words, I could almost see the despair that the old Leo had felt day after day. I took a deep breath and looked coldly at the collectibles on the carpet. I took the book and the postcard and told Arthur to throw the rest of the junk away. Just then, Jax called. "You packed yet?" I looked at the suitcase next to me. A singer Jax had loved for years was holding a concert abroad. The interesting thing was, the concert was happening 5 years after the tickets went on sale. Back then, there was a discount for buying a pair of tickets, and many people bought them for their friends and partners. 5 years later, would the person you promised to go to the concert with still be by your side? The singer had posted that question at the time, and entry was granted as long as both tickets were verified as genuine. I finished typing my message and left the villa with my suitcase. My feelings were complicated, but I couldn't betray the helpless, isolated Leo of the past. After the plane took off, my scheduled post went live. "Hello everyone, I'm Leo King, the author of The Scheme. If this work must be starred in by a third party who wrecked someone's family, then I am willing to pay the breach of contract fee myself. Isabelle Vance, the CEO of the Vance Corporation, and I have been together since our freshman year of college. You all say I used dirty tricks to marry her. Well, I'd like to ask you, Ms. Vance, what tricks did I use? I'm quite curious myself. Throughout this relationship, you all drove me crazy, simply because a crazy person's words can't be trusted. The online mob, in their quest to ship a fantasy couple, has fabricated all sorts of lies and slung all sorts of mud at me. I'm posting 4 images. The first is our marriage certificate. At that time, we had finally won her parents' approval because the company she founded for my sake had gone public. That's what she told her professor back then, that she was building a future for us. The second image is of that popular collectible series. She was in Pasadena for a competition, and she searched high and low, running all over the city to find me the complete set. The third image is the photo we posted on social media to announce our relationship. The matching rings we're wearing were designed by her, engraved with our initials. Why is the fourth image black? Because even something white can be spun as black. Isabelle always told me she and Aiden Chase grew up together, that she felt sorry for him and wanted to help him. But for years, you've promoted him, throwing resources and connections his way. That's a fact everyone can see. You've never responded to the online speculation about your relationship, letting the public direct their attacks at me. You let them believe that I was the one who stole you, that I ruined your so-called love story. Every time you told me you were just friends. Is this really what friendship looks like? Is this how friends behave? I once wrote a long post online complaining about this. You swore to me that you were just friends, that I was overthinking it, that Aiden's career was just starting, and asked if I could really live with myself if I ruined someone like that. Back then, I was blinded by love, and I actually believed you. So I issued an apology. How did we get here? This failed marriage is not my fault. It's both of your faults. You destroyed my faith in marriage, my hopes for the future. And now, Isabelle Vance, I am officially informing you, we are getting a divorce. The statement dropped like a bomb online. Aiden Chase had just finished filming and was happily interacting with his fans. A fan pointed towards his trailer and teased, "Hey, you hiding someone special in there? You're practically glowing." In front of all the cameras, Aiden didn't deny it. He just covered his mouth and giggled shyly. Suddenly, a gasp came from the crowd. Aiden, is what Leo King said true? The once harmonious atmosphere instantly fell silent as everyone pulled out their phones. Aiden's face turned pale. Forgetting his image, he snatched a phone to see for himself. A moment later, The scene erupted into chaos. Everyone was demanding to know what his relationship with Isabelle Vance was, whether he had destroyed someone's family. No one could accept their idol being a morally corrupt homewrecker. Aiden's face went white. He couldn't say a word. Because he had previously removed the barricades to seem more fan-friendly, he was now surrounded. They demanded an explanation. Aiden was so panicked he was speechless, but he knew he couldn't say anything rash. If he spoke recklessly now, it could limit the PR team's options later. So he had to clam up. Isabelle only found out about it from a flood of calls from her parents and the company's shareholders. She had just arrived at the villa. Seeing the long post, she frantically ran upstairs but couldn't find Leo. She immediately tried calling him, but he didn't pick up. The villa was eerily quiet, but her phone never stopped ringing. She sat on the bed and looked up at where their wedding photo used to be, only to find an empty space. Leo wanted a divorce. Isabelle looked down at his post and hung her head in despair. She hadn't stopped loving him. How could she not love him? She closed her eyes, and her mind filled with images of his fading smiles. His once clear eyes now dull. Felt like she hadn't seen him in a long time. He hadn't come looking for her, hadn't messaged her. When she realized it, she had wanted to come back, to text him. But once you get used to being proud, it's hard to lower your head. She had thought he was just throwing a tantrum like he used to. She waited and waited, but he never came back. She sat there until dawn, then grabbed her coat and walked out. She was wrong. So terribly wrong. The Vance Corporation stock had been plummeting since the day before. All the shareholders were blaming Isabelle for not answering her phone, for missing the crucial window to issue a clarification. They said there was still time to save the situation, that she needed to release a statement. But Isabelle posted an apology instead. After the concert, Jax and I traveled to a few other countries. As we were watching the tuk-tuks zip through the streets, a call came from the States. Her sister called to tell me Isabelle had been in a car accident. It was serious. She asked if I could come back and see her. Jax and I looked at each other, finding it a little funny. The scandal was still hot. I couldn't believe they didn't know. I played dumb. Oh my God. Is she okay? I'm so worried. I'll head back right away. Then I immediately hung up and went back to sightseeing. It was months before I returned to the US. Jax was about to leave for school abroad. I went back to the villa to pack my things. As I was changing my shoes in the foyer, Isabelle came downstairs. I hadn't seen her much since I lost my memory. All I knew was that she had lost weight. Even though we were on bad terms, I was still technically her husband. I put on an apologetic face and spouted nonsense. My wallet was stolen the second I landed. All I had left was my phone. I'm so sorry I couldn't make it back in time. She just looked at me, walked over, and took my hand. Her eyes were red. Can we stop fighting, please? I smiled and pulled my hand away. I'm not fighting with you. The divorce is real. Are you going to agree to a settlement? Or do I have to sue you in court? Your company's stock has hit rock bottom. Hasn't it? Leo. She closed her eyes in despair, a tear sliding from the corner of her eye. I really don't know how it turned into this. At first, I just wanted to help him. There was this dinner party, and I passed by a room where he was being forced to dance for everyone. We grew up together. I'd seen him when he was shining. I just wanted to give him a few resources. But then, I don't know how things got so out of control. Leo, I never did anything to betray you. I looked at her coldly. Isabelle, an emotional affair is still an affair. It's no different from a physical one. Do you know why I was in a car accident? I looked into her confused and desperate eyes and smiled. You didn't believe I was in an accident. You didn't believe I really had amnesia. You just thought it was another one of my tricks to keep you. Back then, someone told me you were going to let Aiden Chase star in the scheme. Isabelle, I let out a soft sigh. Why did it have to be him? Were you that desperate to spite me? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. He said that if he could get the lead role in that drama, it might help him win Best Actor next time. I thought that if he became famous, I would have fulfilled my duty to our childhood friendship, and then we could stop fighting over him all the time. Isabelle's features were delicate, but now she looked utterly haggard. Her almond-shaped eyes, which usually made her look gentle, were filled with sorrow. This is where we end. You have to remember, from start to finish, you're the one who wronged me. You're the one who betrayed me, Isabelle. No, I don't want a divorce, Leo. She gritted her teeth and threw her arms around me. Please just give me one more chance. I was wrong, I was so wrong. The next time we meet, I expect to see the divorce papers. I hope we don't have to take this to court. Our ending is already ugly enough, Isabelle. I pushed her away, took my suitcase, and went upstairs. Aiden Chase was effectively blacklisted. He sent me a message. He asked if I was really going to push him to the edge, if I was trying to kill him. Then he just started cursing me out. I don't know how he added me, but I deleted him. But the old Leo was already dead, killed by them. Isabelle was removed from her position as CEO. In the divorce settlement, she gave me almost everything she had. Leo, I'm so sorry, she said, her face pale as she sat there, looking as if she had aged 10 years in an instant. I had finally achieved my dream of becoming a multimillionaire. I sold the villa she gave me. The winters in Los Angeles were too cold. I was going back home to the south. Before I left, I went to the UCLA campus one last time. While I was abroad, I had remembered everything. I walked onto the vast athletic field. That year, neither of my parents would give me living expenses. My class schedule was packed, leaving me almost no time for a part-time job. After gym class, everyone else had left. I stood under the scorching sun, thinking I might as well just die. My life seemed hopeless. Suddenly, an umbrella appeared over my head, and a clear, feminine voice said, "Hey you, very chic, getting a tan. I was just thinking I'm too pale myself. Mind if I join you?" Before I lost consciousness, I squinted, trying to get a good look at the person who would say something like that. She had dyed blonde hair and features so perfect she looked like a doll. She wasn't holding the umbrella for herself. I don't know if it was because I was starving and seeing things, or if the light was just that blinding. But in that moment, I really wanted to grow old with her. On the day I left Los Angeles, the first snow of the season began to fall. As I was going through security, I caught a flash of gold in my peripheral vision. Then it was gone. Her proposal had been spectacular, grand. On the outskirts of the city, countless drones formed my name in the sky as fireworks lit up the night, brilliant and magnificent. A carpet of red rose petals led to a sea of flowers. She said that loving someone required ceremony. That ceremony was a sign of how much you valued them, and that it was what would make you last. The beginning of the story is always beautiful, but the ending was a complete mess. The Isabelle Vance I knew at 19, we didn't make it to the end. You betrayed me,